Mark, it was a gruelling encounter, but for the fifth time this season you're into the semi-finals. You must be really pleased to have managed to find a way to get through that.
Yeah, I am. I played some decent stuff there. It wasn't pretty, but I played a lot of good safety. Didn't miss too many pots. Made a few breaks here and there, but just felt like I'd done the right things at the right time and dictated play a lot, even though it was 5-4. I felt like I was dictating play a lot. Jack was relying on good long reds to get in and scoring quickly. I didn't feel like he was competing much in the safety and tactical side, so I just needed to be really patient. So any win against Jack Lazowski is a good win, because he's a player to watch, very talented kid, and he's going to win a lot of these tournaments, so you just need to do your best to get over the line in the end, no matter what you need to do that within the rules.
Yeah, you were getting on top of those safety exchanges, but in that sort of game in the past, he may have wilted. I suppose some people may have thought he would have done that, but it was still went right down to the wire in the end. I suppose maybe it shows his improvement.
It was interesting, because there was a point at 3-2 where I knew I was on top, and he got quite fortunate with safety. He caught it much too thin and ended up flicking a snooker. He won the frame off that. Then at 4-3 up, I've sort of forced him into going for one, and I know he's getting frustrated by the way he's sort of sped up his play and just hitting the balls really on those safety exchanges. And then he had a smash at one and missed it, split the balls everywhere, left nothing, and then from his next shot he won that frame. So I felt like even though it was 5-4, I felt two bits of fortune really kept him in the match at times.
And did you feel that fourth frame did kind of just change the momentum of the game a bit? We obviously had the free ball thing where I think you were saying he maybe just misunderstood the rulings in an earlier interview.
I feel like he was, because I could clearly hit the left-hand side of the red past the yellow if I was going up and down for a safety. So I think Jack seemed to think you needed to go through the gap for it to not be a free ball. And after a bit of the exchange, then I actually said to him, "Can you hit the extreme left-hand side of that red?" And he looked and he said yes. And I said, "Well, it's not a free ball then, because you need to hit the extreme side, not the gap." So I think once I'd said that, he understood and he knew that he was wrong then. So I don't feel like it was a turning point, who knows, but yeah, I was adamant, I was absolutely right, so I've nothing to be worried about that scenario. It was just one of them things. It was unfortunate, but I knew I was right, so I was going to have to stand my ground.
And we saw Judd come through and win the Masters last week, not playing his swashbuckling best snooker, but at this level of the sport, how important is it to be able to have your B game and not always necessarily outpot your opponent, be able to play any way to win? To
be honest, it's more important having that, because you probably play your very best a couple of times a season, or a handful of times throughout the year. So you need to have that B game and sometimes your C game to get through. And if you can nick those close matches when you're not at your best, it turns your season around. I had 2 years ago, I had a terrible season, and it was because I was losing pretty much every decider I played. I just wasn't getting on the right end of those close games, where I've nearly got on the right end of virtually every one this season. It makes a huge difference.
Noppon Sankam in the semi-finals. It's been a fairy tale run for him this week, but you'll be hoping to put an end to that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope so. But look, Noppon's a class player as well, and he's much improved. He's someone I rate very highly, so I need to play well. I played really well against him in the semis of the British Open. I need to play something like that if I'm going to win tomorrow, because he looks like he's absolutely flying this week. So I need to try and maybe do a bit of what I've done tonight and try and keep him off the table.
All the best.
Cheers, Roddy.